Welcome to Inside British Royals. This is your exclusive look inside the world's most famous family. We are exploring the scandals, secrets, and power plays that define the modern monarchy. If you are new here, please do well to hit that subscribe button for more updates. On May 19th, 2018, the world stopped to watch a fairy tale. The royal wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle was a global event, with some estimates suggesting nearly 1.9 billion people tuned in. It was sold as the ultimate happily ever after, a beloved prince, a glamorous American actress, and a breath of fresh air for a centuries-old monarchy. We all saw the perfect smiles, the traditions, and the romance. But what if I told you that behind the flawless facade of St. George's Chapel, a crisis was already boiling over? Years before their dramatic royal exit, the first major cracks were already showing. These weren't just pre-wedding jitters. They were battles over protocol, bitter family disputes, and intense personal conflicts that would become the first, undeniable red flags of the massive schism to come. We're exposing the inside story of the wedding that started it all. Just days before the wedding, the first bomb went off, and it was a public one, centered entirely on Meghan's father, Thomas Markle. Kensington Palace had been trying to shield him from the press, but the quiet life he'd been living in Mexico was over. In the final week, the Mail on Sunday published a bombshell. CCTV footage allegedly showed Mr. Markle staging paparazzi photos. The pictures, sold for a reported sum of over $130,000, were designed to make him look good, getting measured for a suit, browsing photos of the couple in an internet cafe, and reading a book about Great Britain. The fallout was instant and catastrophic. Thomas Markle later admitted he'd worked with the photographer, not for the money, but to improve his look after unflattering pictures of him had surfaced. "I feel bad about it. I apologize for it. It was a mistake," he said. But the damage was done. To make things even messier, Meghan's estranged half-sister, Samantha Markle, jumped into the fray, tweeting that staging positive photos was her idea. In the middle of all this chaos, Thomas Markle suffered a heart attack, requiring surgery just 3 days before he was supposed to walk his daughter down the aisle. It left Meghan in an impossible position. 2 days before her wedding, she released a deeply personal statement confirming her father wouldn't be there, writing, "I have always cared for my father and hope he can be given the space he needs to focus on his health." The dream of having her dad by her side was shattered. In a last-minute shake-up, the then Prince Charles stepped in to walk Meghan part of the way down the aisle. A huge break from tradition and the first clear sign this wedding would be anything but conventional. But the drama wasn't just happening out in the open. Behind palace walls, a private war was brewing, one that would go down in tabloid history as Tiaragate. The first story that leaked painted Meghan as a demanding bridezilla. It was claimed she fixated on an emerald tiara, and when she was told no, Harry furiously snapped, "What Meghan wants, Meghan gets." But in his memoir Spare, Prince Harry tells a completely different story. He says that after his mother's Spencer family tiara was offered, the Queen invited Meghan to choose one from her personal collection. They were shown 5 options, and Meghan fell for the Queen Mary's diamond bandeau, a stunning platinum piece from 1932. The Queen even encouraged them to practice with it before the big day. The real conflict, Harry claims, started when they tried to get their hands on the tiara for a hair trial. He alleges the Queen's trusted aide, Angela Kelly, was obstructive and difficult. When they requested it, there was silence, then excuses about needing a police escort, which Harry felt was an over-the-top excuse. When they finally spoke with Kelly, she allegedly said it simply couldn't be done. Harry was furious. He saw it not as a logistical snag, but as a blatant sign of disrespect toward his fiancée. While he denies ever saying what Meghan wants, Meghan gets, he admits the whole thing was incredibly tense and ended with Kelly giving him a look he took as a clear warning. This wasn't about a tiara. For Harry, it was about his future wife's place in the rigid royal hierarchy. Of all the pre-wedding dramas, the fight over the bridesmaid dresses might be the most infamous. It was an emotional firestorm that drove a wedge between Meghan and her soon-to-be sister-in-law, Kate Middleton, just 4 days before the wedding. For years, the story went that Meghan's demanding behavior left Kate, who had just given birth to Prince Louis, in tears after a stressful dress fitting. But during her 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey, Meghan said the reverse happened. She stated that it was she who was left crying but didn't want to get into the details, as Kate had since apologized with flowers and a note. In Spare, Harry fills in his side. He says Kate texted Meghan complaining that Princess Charlotte's dress was too big, too long, too baggy, and that Charlotte cried when she tried it on at home. Meghan, already overwhelmed with her father's media scandal, replied that a tailor was waiting at Kensington Palace to do alterations, just as the other mothers were doing. According to Harry, Kate pushed back, insisting that all the dresses need to be remade. After a tense exchange, Harry says he came home to find Meghan sobbing on the floor. A tailor, Ajay Merpwe, later confirmed that all 6 bridesmaid dresses needed alterations and that his team worked for 4 days straight to get them right, but he never witnessed a fight. A new biography even claims that a staffer said both women were left in tears, with regrets on both sides. No matter whose tears they were, Meghan told Oprah the incident was a turning point for her, and she was stunned when the institution did nothing to correct the false story that put the blame on her. It wasn't all explosive fights, though. Some of the biggest red flags were quieter, a series of small but significant breaks from royal tradition that, in hindsight, show a couple already pushing against the institution's rigid rules. First, there was the cake. For generations, royal weddings had featured a traditional fruitcake. Harry and Meghan chose a lemon and elderflower cake with buttercream, a clear break from custom. Then there was Harry's decision to wear a wedding ring. His grandfather, Prince Philip, and his brother, Prince William, don't wear one, but Harry chose a platinum band. The wedding day itself was full of non-traditional moments. The couple held hands throughout the ceremony, a display of affection not usually seen in such formal settings. Meghan also walked the first half of the aisle by herself before Prince Charles joined her, a powerful statement made necessary by her father's absence. And at the reception, Meghan gave a speech, an honor usually reserved for the men. Even the date, a Saturday, was a break from the norm of a weekday royal wedding, which is typically a public holiday. Taken individually, they're small details, but put them all together, and you get a clear picture of a couple determined to do things their way. Bubbling under all of this was perhaps the most significant crisis of all, the growing, deeply personal rift between Prince Harry and Prince William. The wedding seemed to throw their different paths into sharp focus. According to multiple reports, William had advised his younger brother to slow down his whirlwind romance with Meghan. Harry didn't see it as brotherly concern. He saw it as a lack of support and a slight against Meghan, and their relationship grew frosty. This tension simmered throughout the wedding preparations. In his memoir, Harry describes arguing with William over his decision to keep his beard for the wedding, something William himself hadn't been allowed to do. The friction also spread to the palace staff. As reports grew that staff found Meghan difficult, William allegedly confronted Harry, deepening the divide. Their shared household at Kensington Palace became a pressure cooker. Harry and Meghan felt their concerns were being ignored, and relations were pushed to a near breaking point. Finally, in March 2019, they formally separated their households, the first public sign of the crisis that had been brewing for months. This was followed by their split from the Royal Foundation, the charity the brothers had started together. These weren't just administrative changes, they were the public signs of a private war. The fairy tale wedding hadn't united the family. It had exposed the cracks in the brothers' relationship, a rift that would eventually prove irreparable and set the stage for the Sussex's final exit. When you look back at those storybook images from the wedding, it's easy to see a tale of modern love. But the reality was so much more complicated. The arguments over tiaras and dresses, the public family implosion, the constant pushing against protocol. These weren't just isolated incidents of wedding stress. They were the symptoms of a fundamental clash between a deeply traditional institution and a couple determined to live on their own terms. These early crises were the turning point. They exposed the fault lines in the family, the rigid hierarchy that struggled to make room for an outsider, and the brotherly bond that was cracking under the pressure. The fairy tale wedding wasn't the beginning of a happily ever after inside the palace. It was the beginning of the end. So what's the verdict? Was this just normal wedding drama amplified by the royal spotlight? Or were these undeniable red flags from the very start? Did you see the signs at the time? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into royal history.